This is Coach Lee, and you're listening to The Door Report.
It's Pavia. And here comes a deep shot.
Yup. Dude, that's what happens when you're an audible god! When you're an audible god!
Hey, how's your girl, man?
She left me.
Oh.
Yeah, my mom died too. And my dad got deported. But I got the van.
It's nice.
Yeah, right?
Welcome back into The Door Report, and welcome into episode number 323 on a lovely Tuesday evening, July 8th, 2025. I am Will Byrum, joined as always by my co-host, Trevor Hulan, aka Hack Squad Jim Duggan. Here at The Door Report, we are presented by 615 Collectibles. If you're into sports cards or sports memorabilia, check out 615 Collectibles on eBay. Items include NFL team packs, graded cards, individual cards, and more. You can find them at ebay.com/str/615collectibles, or you can just go to ebay.com and type in 615 collectibles in the search bar. Shipping is always fast and free. Trevor, dog days, we've said it over and over. They're really here, but at least we have the release of College Football 26, at least the early release for those that pre-ordered the deluxe edition. Trevor, you're one of those.
I am one of those people
that pre-ordered the deluxe edition. So in episode 323, Trevor Hulan is going to give us the Inside Vanderbilt review on College Football 26. Trevor, how much would you say you've played the new video game so far in the brief time it has been released?
I actually checked this morning, and it came out yesterday at 11 o'clock, and I've already clocked in 12 hours.
Okay, and to tell the people, I have to just ask, did you take off work to play this video game?
Maybe.
Pre-ordered release. Maybe. He's only giving a maybe.
Maybe.
So we will be talking a lot.
I might have said I was sick.
Maybe. Maybe he was sick.
Who cares? Yeah, I wasn't feeling good.
He wasn't.
I just happened to not feel good.
He was sick of this shit. So we have that to talk about. We also have some last little tidbits of information about the Rivals on 3 acquisition and what the small, minute amount of users that are still experiencing issues, what you guys can do, who you need to reach out to. We're also going to discuss briefly SEC Media Days. Vanderbilt announced to the player attendees and representatives for Vanderbilt football during SEC Media Days will be one name that I think a lot of people were a little bit surprised not included in that list. We also need to announce Vanderbilt SEC Network takeover. We'll discuss that a little bit, what's on the docket for Vanderbilt fans, and discussing that the gleam of that might be a little gone with the advent of on-demand technology in the ESPN app. And then Mikayla Blakes, she deserves a little shine. She deserves a little shine on this podcast. She balled out for Team USA, but we'll discuss that. And then the MLB draft is coming up very soon, and that will play heavily in what current high school signees Vanderbilt is actually able to bring onto campus. Then we will have the TDR cocktail break, and then the always entertaining premium member board questions. So, Trevor, hot day, hot summer. How are we feeling? We're about 6 weeks away from football, and boy, do we need some football in our lives. At least spring practice or fall practice.
I just wish the All-Star break for baseball is about to come up. I'm excited for that. Reds are on a little bit of a skid right now, hoping that they can get going, get a little win streak going as we head into the All-Star break. Right now, I'm just focused on Major League Baseball, but I am dying. I am dying for college football. It's all I think about.
It's the one thing. It's the one. Well, not one sport, but it's one of the main sports I just don't pay attention to is MLB baseball, MLB. So I'm dead right now. My eyes, there's no light behind them. I'm in a coma and hibernation until college football starts, and I'm just reading every bit and tidbit of information I can get my hands on. Also, really looking forward to the standard edition of College Football 26 dropping so I can scratch that itch just a little bit. But before we get into all that and much more, we are now a part of the On3 publisher network. You can visit thedoreport.com today and subscribe to a monthly or annual premium membership and support TDR. You will have access to premium content and our premium message board behind closed doors. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Door Report. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. And while you're at it, give our podcast 5 stars and a review on iTunes or Spotify. It's now time for segment 1.
Tough time never lasts. Only tough people last.
Welcome back into segment 1 of episode 323. To start out, we are going to address a few users that are still experiencing some type of issues with the migration over from Rivals to the new On3 platform. Still go to thedoreport.com, but there are some users that were either late signups or other extenuating circumstances that are still experiencing issues. If you are one of those people, first off, double check, make sure that you are using the same email associated with your Rivals account to try to sign into On3. It cannot just be another email. Make sure it is the email that is part of your Rivals account. That accounted for about 70% of the problems that I was messaged about. People were trying to use an email that was not the email that they signed up through Rivals with. Other people, if you were experiencing different issues, go and try to sign in. A lot of them should be resolved. Go try to sign in today as you are listening to this. A lot of those has been resolved. If it is not, and you still cannot sign in, you are going to need to send an email to support@on3.com. You can CC doorreport@gmail.com if you would like, so we can keep track of that ticket. But in that email, you're going to need to provide your username, your email associated with the Rivals account, your description of your issue, and the Door Report as your primary site. Support at Rivals should get back to you within a certain period of time. I wish I could give you a guarantee on that period of time, but it seems like it has been within a 48-hour window. That's not guaranteed. They've been extremely backlogged, but that is what we have been told to express to users, members, and listeners of the podcast. Almost 95% of premium members have been transitioned over. So most of it has gone 100% smoothly. It has been a relatively smooth process outside of those few users. And I think premium members are already experiencing some of the benefits of being a part of the On3 network. We've already had a couple national On3 analysts come in with articles about potential Vanderbilt recruits come into our premium board. I won't say that our premium members have taken advantage of those opportunities, but we have had some national writers from On3 come in and introduce themselves to the board. And of course, our premium members take that opportunity to say always interesting things. One of those was Pete Nakos came in, introduced himself. So far, I think a majority of members would view this as a positive, and we will have a lot more potential content coming down the pipeline. But Trevor, what's your experience been with On3 so far in navigating the new board?
Well, the thing with On3, and I so far I've absolutely loved the transition to On3. We've already had our first Tennessee incident, and that with On3, similar to other platforms, you can look at other schools' message boards. You can't comment on their post on there, but you can lurk. So we've had some Tennessee fans lurking on our board. A post that I made in conjunction with Alex Kurbagov in regards to the Joel Wyatt saga, which is up on the message board, was screen grabbed and posted in the Tennessee forum, which I'm okay with that. That's cool with me. I will say, if you're going to do that, I feel like we should get a little extra pay and boost and pay. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to just like screen grab our stuff from like behind a paywall and then put it behind your paywall, I feel like you should have to pay us. But other than that, it's been great. It's been great. I don't know. I might go on Tennessee's board and screen grab some dumb stuff and just post it on there. So I'm just, who knows?
Who knows?
But other than that, it plays just like Rivals in terms of like the actual measure. Plays just like Rivals.
And so for everybody out there that's kind of wondering, where is my quote unquote message board clout? A lot of people had a lot of points built up, a lot of old threads, a lot of messages. So Shannon Terry put out a notification to all of the publishers and listed which sites are next up on the docket to be completely migrated over with an old history of message boards, old articles, all of that. The top sites have already been migrated over. I think it's 20 or so sites. Vanderbilt, the Door Report, we are next up. So currently, right now, we are one of the 20 sites currently being migrated over. Very soon, in the next few days, you should be able to see historic message board threads. All of your account info should be migrated over. So I've had a lot of questions about that as well.
We've also already started to see, like, on your profile, if you click on somebody's On3 profile, even though they just joined, it says like they've been a member since 2003. Also, too, just a reminder, because I do understand where you guys are coming from. I sort of had to put that down. And whenever I dropped my personal Rivals account that I've been using for almost 10 years and had to switch over to the one that I use now, I obviously lost all my stuff. But in terms of, like, if that happened with Twitter, and let's say that Twitter was migrating over to another site, I would be like, where are all 90,000 of my tweets? Like, where did I want them back. So I do understand that. But also, let's put in the caveat of, even though it's a smaller message board, a lot of you guys have been on the site for over 20 years. And so a lot of you guys have, literally just on one person, you guys account for hundreds of thousands of posts just for one person, let alone a few hundred.
At least thousands.
So that's going to take a while to transfer over, but they're in the process of doing that, as Will said.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of posts. They actually, I don't have it pulled up in front of me. They had how many articles and posts they were or threads they were transitioning.
It's got to
over.
be close to
astounding.
1 billion.
It's not that many, but it's like.
Oh, are you not in terms of like the comments and the replies?
No, it's just threads.
I was including that.
No, it's just threads, and then yeah, I don't think it's even 1 billion, even if you're talking comments. But
I think it might be close.
It's
been up for over 20 years. I bet it's close.
You're talking about Vanderbilt?
No, I'm talking about Rivals.
Oh, in general?
Yeah.
In a whole?
No,
yeah, okay, yeah.
No.
That might be close. It might be close. Maybe not that many, but it might be damn close. So that's about it on that front. People that are not subscribed to the premium message board, I'm sure, are kind of tired of hearing about it. But go subscribe to thedoorreport.com. Please support TDR and help us to continue with Vanderbilt coverage. Moving on to actual Vanderbilt news. I mentioned it in the intro. SEC Media Days, the player reps have been announced. Vanderbilt will be headed to SEC Media Days July 14th through 17th. The players that will be joining Clark Lee are Diego Pavia, Randon Fontenette, and Martel Height. Great group, fantastic group. Of that list, I think what surprises me the most is no Eli Stowers. Maybe understandable. I'm not sure exactly the dynamic behind it. Eli Stowers is a relatively soft-spoken guy. He is going to be, worst case, I believe, barring a traumatic injury, a top 2-round pick. I would be shocked if he's not a first-round pick. So maybe that was part of the thought process. But why was Eli Stowers not included in this group of players?
So I saw
he seems
somebody
like the perfect rep for your university to me.
I saw somebody on Twitter say, and I think this is actually a really good point. If you'd have brought Randon Fontenette, Diego Pavia, and Eli Stowers, those are all 3 transfer guys, as opposed to Martel Height, who is actually recruited by this Vanderbilt staff, stayed at Vanderbilt, could be a good testament to what Vanderbilt's building. So from that point, I understand. Additionally, I think Eli Stowers already, and you say this, and it's like, oh, well, what about Diego Pavia? Nobody's going to get as much media attention on or off the field as Diego Pavia. But in terms of media accessibility and who the media wants to talk to, probably second to Diego Pavia is Eli Stowers. And so somebody who is a very talented, borderline All-American player, I believe last year, 3rd-team All-American in a lot of publications, Martel Height, who is somebody who is going to be a star, going to be really good for this Vanderbilt defense, that should get more attention. So I'm wondering too if it's if I don't know how. I know early on, whenever Clark Lee first came to Vanderbilt, there was a weird sort of rules that they had of who they picked to go to media days. Like, you had to hit these certain benchmarks and so on and so forth in practices. I'm not saying Eli Stowers doesn't hit those. I know he hits those. But I would imagine there is certainly a reason as to bring Martel Height as opposed to Eli Stowers.
Well, there's also the part of Eli Stowers. I don't know him personally, but I've listened to a few of his podcast appearances. He seems to be an extremely humble guy.
Very soft-spoken.
Very soft-spoken,
Yeah.
very team-oriented guy. And maybe that can bite you in the ass a little bit in some of these situations. I have a feeling he was a little more amenable to not attending SEC media days than I think some of the other quote-unquote star players of your team might be because of that. But I really like your first point. I think
that wasn't even mine. That was somebody on Twitter.
Whoever
So,
said that
yeah.
on Twitter, that is something I did not think about. That didn't even cross my mind. That is probably the primary motivating factor. They wanted one guy that was brought in as a high school recruit. Diego Pavia has to be a part of. If he was not a part of this, this would be a national storyline about what's wrong with the relationship between Clark Lee and Diego Pavia.
I agree.
Is the program mad at him for doing podcast appearances? That you could not leave Diego Pavia off this list. That was the one that had to be.
People
there.
would be freaking out about, was busting with the
Yeah.
boys like that bad. I will say too, I don't know him personally. I've had the opportunity to meet him and his family on multiple occasions, and just Eli Stowers and his family, his parents are wonderful people. And I'm not saying this because I know him personally. I'm just saying this because as somebody who follows Vanderbilt athletics religiously and watches and listens and reads everything related to Vanderbilt athletics, Eli, like you said, Eli Stowers is very soft-spoken. This is just me taking a guess based on what I've seen. I know he's done podcasts. I know he's done a lot of media interactions. He doesn't seem like the type of guy who necessarily enjoys being the face, being in front of media, having people ask him questions. Not because he's like sheltered or rude or anything like that. He's nothing but like incredibly well-mannered, incredibly respectful, a great listen. But like Eli Stowers is just that type of dude that like, he's not going to be loud, but he's going to bring his lunch pail. And he does like just an old school grinder type guy who's like gives off this vibe of like buck the lights, buck the cameras. I just want to play ball.
Well, it's his entire background story of being a 4-star quarterback, going to Texas A&M, transferring to New Mexico State, realizing he's probably not going to get the starting nod over Diego Pavia, going up to Jerry Kill and saying, I want to do anything I can to contribute to this team.
You want to talk about a blue-collar work ethic guy. That dude's like, you can keep all this shiny stuff. I just want to play ball.
Exactly.
That's the vibe I get from him.
Yeah, so I don't even know if this was a slight at him. Like you said,
No, I don't think it was.
The two that are going to be getting the most media requests throughout this season and after the season are Eli Stowers and Diego Pavia. And after the season is going to be mostly Eli Stowers. Eli Stowers is the best NFL prospect Vanderbilt has had in years.
Decades.
Years. I think you could go back to maybe Chris Williams.
That's who I was going to say. That's
Vanderbilt
what I was
had a prospect of this caliber.
It's not close, and that's no slight to Jordan Matthews. But
no slight to actually the next closest is probably not even Jordan Matthews. Probably Zach Cunningham, and no slight to him, but Eli Stowers is the next level above Zach Cunningham.
Yeah, I would go. Well, Chris Williams came before Jay Cutler, so I forgot that, but yeah, I think you're right. Williams
was after.
Was he after?
I believe Chris Williams was 08 and Cutler was 06.
Oh, Cutler was
07. 06,
Why
07,
did I think
06.
Chris Williams was before 08, though?
Williams draft.
That's interesting.
This is why we need a producer.
I know. Well, thankfully, Miller.
First round, 14th overall of the 2008 NFL draft.
Great
so
poll.
Right.
Yeah, so it would be Chris Williams. Yeah, it would be Williams. I agree. It would be Williams, Cunningham, then probably J-Matt.
Yeah, and the only reason I know that is because during that time in my life, I was extremely into sports cards. And I had a Jay Cutler 2006 Topps rookie card, and I had an 08. And I can see the cards right now in my head. I can see the designs, the 08. And I had an 08 Chris Williams rookie card. So that's why
Something about the
that.
Bears. Love the Doors.
Yeah, Earl Bennett was a Bear as well.
Earl Bennett was a Bear. DJ Moore was a Bear. Hunter Hillenmeyer.
A lot of Bears.
A lot of Bears.
A lot of doors in the Bears. But SEC Media Days, keep your eyes out for that. You never know what's going to happen when you put Diego Pavia in front of a mic. I'm thinking he'll be buttoned up this time during SEC Media Days, but I'm guaranteeing he's going to be asked about his appearance and what he said about his expectations for the year. And one thing I can bet is he's not going to back down from the statements he made. So I don't even know if he's going to intend to make waves, but just by being who he is, I think he's accidentally going to make waves at SEC Media Days.
You want to know, and we've obviously discussed Martel Height, and obviously Diego is going to have most of the shine on him. I am fascinated, absolutely fascinated to see Randon Fontenette interact with SEC media. I've had the opportunity to speak with Randon a lot, and he is capital DOG dog. You want to talk about a dude that has a chip on their shoulder? Like, Randon Fontenette has just as much of an edge as Diego Pavia, and I don't say that lightly. I am fascinated to see Randon Fontenette with the SEC media.
Diego Pavia always gets talked about as a guy that was, underrated his whole life, and now look at where he is. I think Randon Fontenette is probably the least talked about defensive star across the SEC. I agree. I agree. Easily make the argument he was Vanderbilt's best defender last season.
I don't think. I think he was.
I think he was too.
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly close.
Him, CJ Taylor, maybe Langston, maybe Longwell, maybe, but Randon Fontenette, I think, is number one.
I don't think
he's
it's
the number one performer. You don't hear any buzz about him. So he's a guy that I think definitely has a chip on his shoulder, will be interesting. And I don't think a lot of people know much about Martel Height. And I think it's going to be fascinating what questions are asked, because people and Vanderbilt fans know he's going to be playing both sides of the ball this year. And that is I
think we're the only people that know that.
Yeah, that's a very interesting talking point that I'm sure will be brought up during SEC Media Days. I am very excited to watch. I know Trevor is as well. All Vanderbilt fans are. Actual juice going into a season in SEC media that is likely going to be looking to get sound bites out of Vanderbilt, whether that's positive or negative. People are going to be wanting to talk to Clark Lee, Diego Pavia, Randon Fontenette, and Martel Height, unlike any years since James Franklin, honestly.
Do you want to? I'll give you a take before we go to our next segment or our next topic on Randon Fontenette. I truly believe this. I believe Randon Fontenette would be a starter for every SEC team except for probably Georgia and Texas, and I think then he would still be a rotational guy.
Vanderbilt for the first time has.
I think he would start on every single team, and on those two teams, he would be a rotational guy that saw serious playing time.
Yeah, Vanderbilt for the first time has multiple players. Multiple, underline that would start on almost every team and at least at worst be rotational players at a lot of positions. I'm not saying they would all start, but a lot of them would be contributors across different SEC programs. One that jumps out to me, there's obviously, like you said, Randon. Eli Stowers is another.
He would start at all 16.
He would start. He's the best tight end in the conference. He would start.
He's the best tight end in America.
He would probably start at every single team in the country.
He would.
And you can go to guys like Jordan White. You can go to guys like Brian Longwell, Langston Patterson. I think these are all guys that are true SEC caliber players.
You forgot another one.
Not just good players for Vanderbilt. These are damn good players.
You forgot another one. Tackle Bryce Henderson, who is the highest rated returning SEC tackle according to Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent on this roster.
Vanderbilt has some boys.
We will get to me and Trevor's season predictions. That will be coming very soon. I cannot wait for that. And we will have a roster previews, all of that. This team has the highest ceiling of any team Vanderbilt has ever had in my entire lifetime. I mean, they have a higher ceiling to me than any of the James Franklin era teams. They also have a floor that is low to me when I look at the schedule. My ceiling and floor for this team, other media outlets are starting to put that out consistently. I won't say mine yet, but the ceiling and floor for this Vanderbilt team are the ceiling is really high and the floor kind of low for a team that's coming off 6-6, returning a lot of talent, because I know this is an overused phrase and I hate myself for using it right now. Even for an SEC schedule, this SEC schedule is tough for Vanderbilt with the home and away splits with who they have.
I'm trying to think of just.
I mean, they have Texas on the road, Bama on the road. That just alone.
LSU comes here.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of from the
Virginia Tech on the road.
I'm trying to think of from the 2013 team what position groups this team is better than, and I'll go. They're better at quarter. This team is better than the 2013 team at quarterback. They're better at. I'd say they're better at running back. I mean, I would take Cedric. I would take Cedric Alexander, MK Young over, and this is no disrespect to the Jitterbug and Wesley Tate. Yeah, I'm taking those guys.
You're right.
I'm taking those guys over those.
You're right.
This team is better at tight end. This team is not as good at wide receiver. This team, they're better at backer because that was the Darian Herring, Jacob Seelan start of that tenure. I don't know if they're better in the secondary. I think I would take Martell Height over Paris Head. Trey Wilson was already gone. I believe Andre Howell was on this team. I don't think he'd left you. I think he's
on this team.
I think Andre Howell is
I
better.
think the secondary was better. When you throw in safety, it gets
but I think
Stephen
I would take
Clark.
I think I would take Hurd, but depending on what you want to categorize Randon as, that sort of hybrid. I would take Hurd and Rando over Kenny Ladler and Stephen Clark.
Yeah,
and that's somebody who loves Stephen Clark.
And this is where I always add in James Franklin. He was a great coach for Vanderbilt.
Bad SEC.
He also got the advantage of playing in the most down SEC East ever.
Tennis
of all time. It will never be that down again. The SEC East sucked dick while James Franklin was there. I have no other way to put it. Compared to where the SEC is now, incomparable.
Tennessee was down. And this is just back when it was East versus West.
Yep.
Tennessee was down. Florida was down. Georgia was down. Kentucky was okay. You remember who your SEC East winners were that year? Those 2 years?
It's Missouri. Missouri. Yeah.
And of course, during 2013, Ole Miss obviously.
Well, it's
Hugh Freeze started.
It's the exact. I mean,
Ole Miss, whenever James Franklin first started, was horseshit.
I mean, you can remember the criticisms of James Franklin during that era.
Couldn't win the big game.
Couldn't beat a ranked team until he beat Georgia in 2013, who was number 15 at the time. He couldn't beat a ranked team.
A Georgia that didn't have Todd Gurley.
He was able to go 8-4 without beating a ranked team. I just have to emphasize that that's not possible in the new SEC. It's not possible.
No.
So this team could have the same or better talent and still go 5-7. 6-6. I'm not saying that's going to be my prediction, but keep in mind that all this hype up of talent and everything, that does not necessarily mean that I'm going to translate that to, well, they won 6 games last year, so obviously they're talented this year. They're going to win 8. That's a dumb way to look at it. You can't look at it like that. You have to individually evaluate where the SEC is now, where Vanderbilt is now, and has Vanderbilt gotten better than last year? The one thing I always remind people, this isn't college football 26. During the offseason, your players don't auto-progress. They don't just get 3 to 4 overall points better during the offseason.
Sometimes guys go backwards.
Sometimes guys get worse during the offseason. Sometimes they remain the exact same player. And the exact same players from last year probably go 6-6 again. If you look at the schedule, if you mediate and just go in the middle and they stay the exact same team, I think this team loses to Bama and beats Georgia State, and they're 6-6 again. So they have to get better. Has this Vanderbilt team gotten better? And that's what we will be discussing as we get into fall camp and get closer to the start of the season. Vanderbilt, more SEC media as we switch topics. Transition God. SEC Network's Vanderbilt takeover. We talked about this July 13th. Vanderbilt is the last team that will be featured on the SEC Network takeover. It's just alphabetical order. Don't get offended. Vanderbilt, of course, is going to be playing the Alabama game. The Alabama upset is their featured game.
Greatest day of my life.
I will say, I will ask this question. I know I'm going to be tuning in. It's going to be on in the background all day when that's going on. Has the SEC Network takeover lost a lot of its luster with the access to every single game that you want to watch available on the ESPN app or on YouTube?
Yeah, I don't even tune in for this.
I'll put it on so that I'll have Hulu playing in the background.
Guys, I've rewatched in its entirety the Alabama game. This is no joke, probably 15 times.
Oh yeah.
And that might be underselling it.
I mean,
the week of the Virginia Tech game, dude, how many times did we sit on this couch and watch the Virginia Tech game on repeat just 72 hours after that game? We watched it
as soon as we got
Yep.
home, like twice.
I watched the Alabama game alone between like midnight and 10 p.m. the night. I watched the
You
Alabama
literally
game three
came.
times.
You literally came home and turned it on.
Just watched it again. Yeah. So the SEC, I'll watch it, but yeah, it's lost a lot of the luster and what it meant. It was awesome.
Yeah.
When it first started, before the advent of streaming and on-demand technology was as prevalent, it was awesome.
Just an issue of accessibility.
Yeah,
It's so much more
now-
accessible.
Now you have access to all these
Mhm.
if you want to really want to watch them. Now it's great exposure for Vanderbilt for people. I don't know who the hell does this, but just leave SEC Network on in the background. I guess it's good in that aspect, but it's lost a lot of its luster for me. We're going to go back to football in a second, but there are a couple quick storylines that I want to get out not related to football. Mikayla Blakes deserves her moment in the sun. Mikayla Blakes, we mentioned it. We had an article about it on thedoopreport.com, was selected to Team USA to compete in the FIBA AmeriCup. Team USA won the gold. And guess who was the MVP of the championship game?
Our girl.
Our girl, Mikayla Blakes, dropped 27 points in the championship game. And some of those highlights, damn.
She's a hooper.
She is a hooper. She is a likable personality. She is a burgeoning superstar. She is a player that she's going to have her time at Vanderbilt. I don't watch the WNBA. I'm not going to lie to anybody. She's going to be a star in the WNBA. She has the personality you want. She has everything you want. She has the exciting game. Mikayla Blakes is the star of this Vanderbilt team. I know we discussed it briefly where Camille Pierre was kicked off. That's a huge loss. That is a huge loss. Cannot be overstated how big of a loss to that team. However,
See a big mama.
Camille Pierre was the second star on this team. Mikayla Blakes is the superstar of this team. And anybody arguing different is wrong.
She was the
They're just
Pip.
wrong.
She was the Pippen to Blake's Jordan.
Exactly. And you need Pippen.
You need Pippen.
You need
Yeah,
Pippen.
everybody loves Scotty.
Vanderbilt women's basketball. I know there were issues, and I think long term, based on what we have heard, probably the right decision. But you're going to feel it this year, and they had potential to be a truly top 8, top 10 women's basketball team in the country. I believe that with Camille Pierre gone, that's kind of out the window. They're still going to be good, but they're not going to be one of those teams truly competing at the top, unfortunately. So Mikayla Blakes, hell of a performance, deserves this moment of shine. Maybe we just need to sit here and say, because we get accused of not talking about women's basketball ever and not caring about women, maybe we just need to point them to thedoopreport.com where we cover women's basketball just as much or more than any other Vanderbilt site.
Yeah, and
Anyway.
to where you guys are mean as hell to Alex, who does a great job. I'm being for real. Like somebody who does not get compensated to cover women's basketball, and he does it better than anybody else. And some of you people are mean as hell to him and should apologize. I'm talking to a couple of Twitter accounts. I forget what y'all's names are, but some of y'all are rude as hell.
Well, we have 2 people on staff that it's not that we tell people. We basically give freedom to who
We
writes
don't
for
tell
TDR.
them. We're like, if he didn't want to cover women's basketball, we'd be like,
Brian Carlson and Alex
Carlson,
Kurbagov do an incredible job covering women's basketball. They are truly passionate about it. Brian is at games. Alex is at games.
Brian's
they
a
watch.
season ticket holder.
Yeah, they are passionate about this. I personally, I'm not TDR. I am the publisher of TDR. I don't personally care that much, but we have people that truly care and follow this shit. They care about it.
We are not TDR. TDR is a community.
Yes.
TDR is an idea. TDR is an enigma. TDR occupies space without being confined to space. TDR is ethereal.
It's ethereal. So
That should be the name of this episode. Is TDR is ethereal.
TDR is ethereal.
We deal with rocks and astrology and stuff like that.
Another note, the Major League Baseball draft is July 13th through July 14th. Alex Kurbagov, just mentioned him, wrote an incredible article for premium board members, premium subscribers. So subscribe today at thedoopreport.com. $1 for your first week if you sign up for an annual membership. So give us a try. Alex wrote an incredible article breaking down every single Vanderbilt baseball high school signee, where they are projected to be drafted, and the odds that they actually make it to campus and put on Vanderbilt gear. So Alex did a great job of breaking that down. I'm not going to break the paywall. You guys are going to have to subscribe to see that. But just a reminder to everybody that July 13th and July 14th is a huge day for Vanderbilt baseball and what this roster is going to look like next season. There are a lot of guys that Alex put in that 50-50 category and basically said that they need at least 2 of these guys or this roster is going to have some holes in it. So Vanderbilt fans need to be paying attention to that. Now to what most people are extremely excited about across the sports landscape, college football 26. Released, if you pre-ordered the deluxe edition, released July 7th. The standard edition releases and can be played July 10th. I have it pre-ordered and downloaded on my Xbox over there.
What's today's date?
Today's the 8th.
Okay.
I am unfortunately, completely washed. I am completely washed. I did not order the deluxe edition, not because I didn't want to have the game 3 days in advance, because I knew for a fact I would not get my money's worth because it was the middle of a work week and I wasn't going to be able to play the damn game. You know, that was the first time in my life
adulthood
that it sucks to know that I'm officially old and don't have a lot of time to play video games, don't have a lot of time to do anything. But I guarantee you when it releases on the 10th, I will be shirking some of my responsibilities throughout my life. Guaranteed. But
yeah,
Trevor, you have had the chance to play it.
I did. I pre-ordered it and I played it for 12 hours.
So we are going to get Trevor to give us a review of the overall gameplay.
Also,
but
before we do that, I need to address something. There's murmurs on Twitter that I play on freshman difficulty. We need to address this. Guys, while you were still inside your daddy, I was playing NCAA. You're new to this. I'm true to this. We don't play on freshmen around here. I tweeted out my gamer tag today. I'm on PlayStation. If you want to run it on the sticks, anybody can get it. If you're feeling froggy, jump. You want to test the skill allegations anytime, anywhere, any place. You can be Alabama. I'll play as Vanderbilt. We'll run it. I'll play as Army. I'll triple option you to death. 1950s. What do you know about that?
I can.
About wishbone. I'll wishbone you and snap you in half like a tailbone.
I will confirm Trevor's a Heisman player. If you don't play on Heisman and you're under the age of 50, you don't deserve to even be having this conversation. You're not a real player. Heisman is the minimum you can play on. In fact, to even have a competitive game within 2 months against the computer of this game releasing, I have to adjust sliders. By the end of college football 25, if I wanted to, I could basically beat the computer 110-7 every single time if I wanted to. I'll release my gamer tag as well once I get used to the game. And if anybody wants it, they can get it.
It doesn't play a lot different. It's a lot more, and we'll get into it. It's a lot more forgiving on defense this year.
Okay.
A lot more forgiving on defense.
Because we have an online dynasty league that me and my buddies play in, and we had to implement the rules of no custom playbooks and a max play limit of 5 plays, or a 5 play limit for each play in your non-custom playbook, because we were too good with custom playbooks. It made it not fun, because literally games against the computer were just, how bad are you going to beat them? Who are you going to run up your stats with? And then basically I just had a custom playbook of 20 to 30 plays that were unstoppable. It was just a game of who's going to make the first mistake and throw an interception. You could not stop anybody. So I'm hoping college football 26 addresses some of the cheese plays.
Defense plays really well on
That's
this.
what I'm hoping.
Defense plays really well.
So to start out, I'm going to read off the top 10 overall players on Vanderbilt's roster with their overalls following their names. And then I'm going to ask Trevor about his experience playing with the Doors and a little bit of the overall gameplay. So starting from top to bottom, highest overall player on Vanderbilt's roster, tight end Eli Stowers with a 93, then center Jordan White with a 90 overall, then quarterback Diego Pavia with an 88, Martell Height with an 87, Brandon Fontenette with an 87, Cedric Alexander with an 86, Brock Taylor with an 83, Junior Sherrill, Langston Patterson with 83s as well, Keanu Coote with an 82, and Miles Capers with an 82. So those are the highest rated players on Vanderbilt's roster. What has your experience been like playing with Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, Eli? Let's just hear what you have to say about the Doors in college football 26.
Well, I'll add this too. Not only is Eli Stowers the highest rated player on Vanderbilt's roster, he is the highest rated tight end in the entire game. So he's the best tight end in the entire game. First off, Eli Stowers. I mean, I fear that with the new update, they're going to keep him at a 93, but they are going to nerf his catch and traffic ability. He is like nobody can guard Eli Stowers in this game. Like it is crazy how fun it is to play with Eli Stowers. If you little cheat for you guys, I'll obviously he's lined up at tight end, but sometimes he's lined up offset. You motion him out wide against a small DB. Oh my God. They run step to step with him, but if it's a jump ball, like that's not getting broken up. It's crazy. Eli is super fun to play with. Diego Pavia, the ability to the new feature to where you can juke in the backfield with your quarterback is really nice, especially whenever you play with a quarterback like Diego Pavia. He's fun. Running it up the middle with Jordan White is a religious experience. Cedric is really good in this game, but running it up the middle behind Jordan White is awesome. On defense, you want to know who has flashed the most? So whenever I play defense, I use her. Sometimes I'll use her my linebacker, so I'll like sit on Langston, but I like use her in the safety a lot, depending on like who I'm playing. Like let's say I'm just user in Langston. Somebody who has been showing up for me a lot in the games I played is Keanu Coote. I had a game online ranked against somebody. I think they were playing it. Also, playing online ranked is what I do most of the time. I'm a big online head-to-head guy. And so obviously, if you have any experience playing ranked matches online, everybody plays as like Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Oregon, and then I go in there as Vanderbilt. Keanu Coote had like 4 tackles for loss against Alabama one game. He was all over the place. All that to say, Vanderbilt is a really, really, really fun team in this game. So if you do get the game, you're gonna have a wonderful time playing with them. I will say, last year Vanderbilt's playbook was kind of boring. Their playbook this year is really, really fun.
Really?
They have a really fun. I love running out of the pistol. I'm a big pistol guy. They have expanded the pistol playbook so much, like the pistol formations. The playbook is really fun for Vanderbilt this year.
Yeah, one of my big complaints last year was Vanderbilt's playbook sucked.
It was bad.
It was not.
It was bad.
They did a decent job of putting in the formations, maybe that Vanderbilt was in out of the pistol, but the plays
were terrible.
They were unrunnable and not what Vanderbilt ran in real life. They didn't have. It was very weird what they had for Vanderbilt, and I know EA had a ton, and they were probably able to tighten up a lot of those smaller things. The one thing I will say that has pissed me off, and then I'll ask you some more about the game. Vanderbilt's damn helmet in that game is still the unupdated black V on the gold helmet,
which is weird because in the game they wear the right one.
So this is something
I noticed that as well.
There is obviously the macro responsibilities of the athletics department and Candace Story Lee. There's the macro responsibilities of managing the damn new salary cap they have in the NIL era, managing the construction, making sure the stadium's there on time. But then there's the other side that you have to market this program correctly. Do you think they're going to give the wrong fucking helmet to any other SEC school? No. That is piss poor by the admin that nobody's reached out to EA and said, this is unacceptable. Put the helmet that's correct in the game for Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
It's a dumb thing that is just like, that's someone not reaching out to contacts at EA. That's another sign of laziness from this administration. And we've given a lot of flowers to the admin lately. But there's also still stuff that goes on that's just unacceptable to me.
Yeah.
How they had the baseball stadium set up during postseason play, we didn't even rant about that. The fact that left and right field had no way of connecting, unacceptable.
Oh, yeah. See, that didn't bother me that much, to be honest with you.
That's just the little things that it's just because it's Vanderbilt that it doesn't bother anybody. It's dumb, easily fixed, should be easily fixed. And so that's why that pissed me off in the game. Is like that should be an easy phone call.
Yeah.
Is they have contacts at EA. That's the only way their players can get into the game.
Yeah.
I don't understand why no one has said, hey, change the photo to the new helmet.
Yeah.
Change the graphic to the new helmet. This isn't our helmet.
Yeah. It is weird because it's just the graphic on like the loading screen, but in game, it's the right helmet. Like all the uniforms are correct. Like they even have the white alternate and the black alternate. The pants are correct. So yeah, I did notice that whenever it was like select your team, I was like, that is the old helmet.
It's the helmet
and so I was worried that
too.
Yeah, and so I was worried that whenever I would play, it would be the old helmet. But no, in game, whenever you're playing, it's the right helmet.
And I'm just an old man, so I get mad at small things. So I had to go on my anger rant. But
While you say that, and this is off the topic of college football, you made a tweet the other day when we were discussing Tennessee's on Twitter, when we were discussing Tennessee's new smoky gray uniforms that look awful, by the way, but that's not what I want to talk about. You brought up a good point, and that no, I don't feel like anybody's talked about it. I think it is a small change that I think is, for some reason, so much better than the old one. The new helmet with the white V instead of the black V, for some reason, looks so much better. And I understand that's personal preference. I think it pops. So
I don't even know
more.
if that's personal preference.
It looks good.
I think if you surveyed 1,000 people, 90% plus would agree at how much better that looks. And I don't understand how in the world it was a black V to begin with if they had both of those options presented in front of them. Because the white V just looks so much better.
It does. It looks a lot
and there
better.
was a lot of discussion about uniforms as well. Once the smoky grays dropped, so those are awful, by the way. The Tennessee smoky grays, they're different shades of gray from the helmet to the jersey to the pants.
And of course, the helmet is still like the old, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like the old Butch Jones one to where it mimicked the Smoky Mountain. So it is kind of,
I don't know. I didn't
what's
see
that term? Like girls use it for whenever they get their hair like different shades.
Gradiated?
No, ombre. It's like an
Never
ombre helmet.
No, so
yeah, there's like 10 different shades of gray.
But my larger rant is those are bad. My larger rant is and thank God Vanderbilt has abandoned this. I just want to underscore how thankful I am to Clark Lee, to the admin, for fixing the uniforms.
They're so good.
These are good uniforms.
They're
they
sexy.
Don't need more.
No.
Simple is better. Simple is good.
Yes.
Black, gold, and white are good colors.
Yep.
Simple is good. And the new uniforms look fantastic.
Yep.
What got brought up alongside the Tennessee stuff was the old gray Vanderbilt jersey.
So gross. The fact that people like actually defend them and not in the, and I'm talking about you, Corn. The fact that people like, not as a gimmick, say no, both of the like the battle ready ones and the deep water were good uniforms.
No.
You're like either, and I love all of you guys, either you're lying or you're dumb. And I don't think you guys are dumb. So I think you're lying to me. So just admit it. Those were hideous uniforms.
So I am a big relative traditionalist. I love
Same.
alternates. However, I do like a good alternate. I like.
Yes.
But
like Vanderbilt's all black with the gold numerals. Sexy.
The issue I have with this modern whatever is it's across the board. If gray is not part of your colors and you're not on a baseball field, then gray should not be in your uniform combo.
Absolutely.
That's my Oregon ruined it for everybody.
That's how I feel about black. Like I hate and I'm not saying this because Tennessee does it. If black is not a primary or secondary color for you, you should not have black uniforms.
I don't get
and
it.
That's not saying to Tennessee but like Iowa State. Iowa State is maroon and gold. They have no black in their color scheme. They should not have black uniforms. I hate that. That's one of my biggest pet peeves when teams wear black and their team color is not black.
Well, it's okay. And I'm going to give them a little bit of credit because I hate, how I've stated how much I hate the color orange.
Yeah.
And how much I hate Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
However, Tennessee's uniforms are iconic. Dude, just go with me here. I know we want it. We hate on them. The white helmet with the orange tee is an iconic helmet. I hate them. Think the orange looks like a prisoner jump.
But it's iconic because it's so ugly.
But my thing, we can go there. I'm not going there right now. What I'm saying is with Tennessee, I think even some of their fans are like, why are we doing this?
I think most of their fans are like that.
That's my whole point when they released the Smoky Grays is like they're ugly first off, but regardless of judgment, that would be like Penn State releasing gray uniforms. I'm not saying they're that iconic, but Penn State, I'm like, guys, you have good uniforms. They're simple. You have a unique color. You have a unique helmet. Why are you releasing gray alternates? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just they need people to have jobs, but in general, I almost tweeted something that said no football team should be wearing gray. on a field. However, there are a few college teams that have gray as a primary color. Nevada is one of them.
Eastern Michigan.
Nevada is Eastern Michigan, UNLV.
UNLV?
Silver. If it is one of your primary colors, gold or silver, that's fine. But when it is not, dude, Oregon,
Wazoo.
Yeah, yes, Wazoo's another good example. Oregon,
They should wear gray uniforms.
Yes,
and
yes.
they do. They should be allowed to.
But that doesn't look off. It doesn't look bad.
Yep, I'm right there with you.
But Oregon is pulled out gray uniforms at some point that looked pretty good.
Well, yeah,
because they're a Nike school.
It's Phil Knight. Yeah.
It's Phil Knight's school. He's also Fiji, by the way.
Dude. Good
but-
water.
I lost my point there. But they looked good because their other colors are orange and or not orange, or green and yellow. And that kind of goes well and pops with gray. But that set a horrible precedent for the rest of college football. And dear God, gray uniforms don't look good. I will keep yelling this from the top of the mountain unless it's one of your team's primary or secondary colors. Gray uniforms look worse than any of your other uniforms. Stop making them. Stop spending time making a gray alternate uniform. You'll have your few diehards that will defend you if you jumped off a bridge and told them to jump off a bridge. But a majority of people are like, Jesus Christ. What I feel like it's I don't even know what the right term is. People are just tired of it. At first, it was like, oh, this is funky and new. And now
Because it's novelty.
why are we doing this a decade later? Who is asking for this? Are there any fans that are like, man, I can't wait for us to release our new gray alternates? Are the players excited? The only redeeming part about Vanderbilt's, which I hate it because I'm a traditionalist, which I love the gold helmet with the white V in the middle. But the deep water helmets were the only redeemable part of that entire combo. The deep water helmets were not awful.
See, I don't like chrome
them.
helmets.
Okay, I didn't like them, but that was the only part of all of that set that I didn't hate those helmets.
I would agree with that. Now, with that being said, if Clark Lee brought those back for a game, like I would be pissed. Like I would actually be upset.
Yeah,
If he was like, hey, we're gonna bring these back for one game. It would actually bother me.
And thank God Vanderbilt abandoned chains. Chains on the uniforms and shoulder caps. My number one enemy, and people disagree with me on this more than anything, I hate shoulder caps on uniforms. You don't need anything on the shoulder of uniforms. It looks like shit. It does. It looks worse. It does. I know that's a subjective opinion, but I will die on a hill alongside the gray uniforms. No shoulder caps and no gray uniforms. Those are my two that people do too much with jerseys.
See, I would rather have shoulder caps than chrome helmets. That's my chrome helmets seem so Arena League G5 to me. Like whenever I see a chrome helmet, I think of Western Kentucky football. Because they were like kind of the first school to popularize it.
Them in Oregon.
Them in Oregon is, and every time I see a chrome shiny helmet,
MTSU has some chrome helmets, don't they?
They also have gray uniforms.
Yeah, but that's one of their colors. MTSU is blue and gray. Blue and silver.
Memphis also. Now I'm just thinking of schools that have gray uniforms.
MTSU is one that's allowed to. That's one of their primary colors.
You want to know who? I don't know if you ever saw this, and we'll continue on. I don't know why I've got on a tangent of gray uniforms, but we can keep going.
Hey.
One of the schools who has the worst gray uniform. I don't think they still wear them. Do you remember Duke's gray uniforms? They were so ugly. Duke's gray uniforms were bad.
Hey, this is not meaning to shift too much. We give Derek Mason plenty of shit about the uniforms throughout his era. However, Derek Mason did not bring forth the worst uniforms Vanderbilt has ever put on a field before or a court. That was those gray and neon basketball uniforms.
The Volts, they wore those against a Mizzou one game.
Those were Vanderbilt they could try to make shittier looking uniforms. They could task somebody and their entire job for 1 year is to put forth the worst looking uniform you can possibly wear. They couldn't top it.
That was the worst.
It was hideous.
Yup.
Hideous.
The Volt uniforms.
Let's get back to college football 26 before we go to the TDR cocktail break. So we both played a lot of college football 25. So I'm asking this as somebody that's excited about college football 26. I've watched a lot of YouTubers talk about the game a little bit. I've watched gameplay, not a lot, but I've watched gameplay. I've watched Instagram Reels. I'm seeing, and it's hard to differentiate what people are just like shelling for EA if that makes any sense, and what people are just EA simps and what people are giving legitimate criticisms over. And then there's the other side that just shits on everything for no reason. Because I've gone on this rant before. Football is by far the hardest game to simulate and create a game for, because the person that's controlling the ball does not primarily control what's going to happen with success or non-success on a play. And that's very different than baseball. Baseball's the easiest, basketball next, and then football. You're simulating 21 of the 22 players if you're playing against the CPU. And most of the positive effects of a play do not relate to the ball carrier or ball thrower. So you have to simulate so much, because a lot of times it can be a tight end pulling correctly up to the linebacker that makes the difference in an 80-yard run and a 4-yard gain. That's hard to simulate correctly. And I hate to tell a lot of people, bullshit happens in football all the time. Guys drop picks right in their hands. Guys drop passes right in their hands. A quarterback has a guy running 20 yards, nobody around him. Quarterbacks overthrow him all the time. Underthrow them when they have a 10-yard lead over a corner. That happens. People don't like that when it happens in a video game. However, would you say so far that they have made improvements you wanted to see in new CFB 26 versus CFB 25?
Yes, I will say specifically on defense. I think that the defense has been – I don't even think the offense has been nerfed. I think the defense has been beefed up to, like, if you're on an island, the offensive player is still obviously going to have the advantage. But, like, you as a defender, you can make a tackle. Like, you can make a one-on-one tackle, as opposed to in last year's game, if it was one-on-one, you're getting toasted. Now, still probably 80% of the time you're getting toasted, but if your defender is good enough, you're going to make a tackle now. I think that's awesome. I think the defense they really, really improved the defense. I think what I appreciate the most is I'm not an aired out guy. I love running the ball. The offensive lines actually, if they are unblocked, move up to the second and third level this year. So if you're running like a trap, instead of just standing there, your guard is going to go to the second level. And if they're free, they're going to go. Like, I had a game last night to where I had my guard was pulling and he was heading towards the safety. And I was just following him. And I was like, oh my God, I don't remember I don't remember the last time I played a college football or a Madden in which the offensive line actually goes, if they're free, to the second or third level when they're pulling. It's awesome. That part is really running the ball this year is super fun. It's super, super fun.
Yeah, next week I will have my criticisms and compliments to EA. I'm sure this weekend that's basically all I'm going to do, outside of hopefully a round of golf at some point, is I'm going to play College Football 26 and then have a review for everyone. Have you had a chance to play Dynasty, or have you basically just played a Road to Glory? Or
no, I'm going to start my Road to Glory after this. Last night, all I did was I played online ranked head-to-head and just bashed some. I was just Vanderbilt, and all these little 13-year-olds that took their mommy and daddy's credit cards wanted to come into my space as Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and they got that work. So I'm about that life. I'm so excited for Road to. Apparently, I haven't played it yet, so I can't speak to this. But Bordeaux, obviously big. College football poster on YouTube, says that like Dynasty is night and day different this year, and that it's so much better. Like, and he is very fair with his criticism of college football. And
he's one of them that I listen to.
And he's like, Dynasty this year is very, very good. But I haven't played it yet.
So Dynasty is 99% of what I played in College Football 25. I really thought, for how much they had to put together in this game, that College Football 25 did a pretty decent job with Dynasty. There were very clear flaws in it. My number one issue with Dynasty was the transfer portal. The transfer portal was basically nothing. When in fact, in real college football, it's the biggest part of building your roster. And last year, it was basically nothing. You would maybe bring in 2 to 4 guys that contributed, and they usually were not that good. Just stars didn't transfer out of programs once you got deeper. We had one league that went to about 14, 15 seasons in. The transfer portal was just useless. Recruiting got very repetitive, having to do hard sells, soft sells. That's something I'm looking to improve in this one. It became and this is how it's always going to be, it became very formulaic. You knew 100% once a person got a lead on you in this aspect and they had this type of pipeline, you could do everything you could do and you weren't going to catch up.
Mhm.
That's always going to be the case because you're trying to simulate recruiting, but I'm hoping to see that doesn't become as repetitive. And then I'm hoping to see just lesser cheese plays. There's a Wildcat jet sweep. Couldn't stop.
You could stop it this year.
Okay.
It's still in the game, and I ran it a couple times.
That's
So
what
I was
I've
like,
heard.
well, hot dog. I can't
you'd
run
be
this.
playing a user, and it was good. Like good users we would play, and you would do contain, shift your defense, bring a manual safety over to that side, guess run to that side. Didn't matter.
Mhm.
Your guys would auto pause, and it would just open up a lane. The jet reverse double pass out of Wildcat. They had an issue guarding routes on the outside corners, like deep fades. For whatever reason, just corners and safeties could not recognize. I can already see. And maybe part of this is accurate, where if you see cover 2, you can just send a decently fast tight end on a go route, and they will beat it 100% of the time because the safeties have no concept of what a go route is when they're playing cover 2. It's dumb. They've never fixed that. That has been an issue since Madden 2004.
Mhm.
And for some reason, EA just has coded in that safeties in cover 2 just get beat. They just get split every time. If you recognize cover 2 and you run a seam route with a fast tight end, they're beat.
Mhm.
And that's still the case. That's what we posted the clip of. So my hopes are not high.
I ran it with Eli.
I really enjoyed college football 26. Or college football 25. I was not a hater on it. It had its issues. But I enjoyed the hell out of it. A football game, like I mentioned, it's always going to be difficult, never going to be perfect. I'm hoping that it looks like they did a lot with personalization for schools. It looks like they poured a lot of time into Road to Glory, which Road to Glory sucked on college football 25. It sucked. They had no high school. If you were a 2-star, forget about it. Like that underdog story, forget about it. You're maybe playing your senior year. Maybe your sophomore, junior year if you go to a shitty school. Road to Glory sucked. They mailed it in.
The Team Builder website, it looks sick.
Dude,
I'm gonna go after this. I'm gonna go upstairs on my computer and make my high school.
Hell yeah. Anything else you want to add about CFB 26? Anything that stood out before we go to the TDR cocktail break?
If you guys want to run it, I'm free to play whenever you want to play for fun. You want to play for money. You want to play for whatever food. I'll buy you beer if you beat me, but you're not gonna beat me. I tweeted out my gamer tag. So
there's also been a pitch about TDR doing an online connected dynasty at some point. We will have to figure out how that would work, or at least streams of TDR playing the game. We will have to figure that out as well.
I think I don't have a Twitch account, but I think I can create a Twitch account and connect it to my PlayStation profile.
I think we can also, in some capacity, connect our YouTube channel. In some capacity.
Yeah.
So we will
an
look into
online
that.
dynasty with like TDR listeners would be really fun.
If you're interested in
that
an
would
online
actually be
dynasty,
really fun.
we may put out a form and see how much interest we have in that, but it would be something along the lines of advance every 72 hours, no matter what, no matter who is ready up, something along those lines.
Yeah, there'd
So
have to be like a hard
yeah, so we
deadline,
would have to put out rules and get that figured out, but we'll get on that, see if we can assign possibly somebody to that job.
Yeah. Nobody can be Vanderbilt. That's the rule.
Yeah.
Nobody can be Vanderbilt. And
But-
whoever's Tennessee gets beaten to death.
Yeah, it would be a 5 randoms type of draft.
Yeah.
Is how we would do it. You get to choose 5 from 5 schools. But that's about it for segment 1. After the TDR cocktail break, we'll go to premium message board questions. Those are always entertaining. And then we will close out a very exciting episode 323, which has already ran over an hour, it looks like. So everybody out there, grab yourself a cold one, and we will be right back after the TDR cocktail break. Welcome back from the TDR cocktail break, and welcome back into episode 323. All we have left on episode 323 is the premium message board questions. Go today to thedoreport.com and subscribe to a premium membership to TDR and help support the boys. Help us continue to support Vanderbilt and continue Vanderbilt coverage. But we will start out at the top of the list. We don't have as many responses as normal. I think a lot of that has to do with the board transition as we have people filter in.
It also was a holiday weekend.
It was. And I did post it a little late on Monday around like 11 or so. So not as early as I usually post it. But first up, we got from World's Strongest Vandy Fan. Made the transition over. Live look at Vol Twitter interview process based upon Volinquent's frequent questionable posts about Phoebe. This account gets too much. We've talked about this account like twice before. We don't block accounts.
No, I'm morally against, because I think whenever like I get blocked, I'm like, oh, I won.
Yeah,
you know, and I don't want to give people that satisfaction.
Dude, I've never it's just the annoyance factor. Like, it's not clever. It's not funny. It's just, we post something, you're like, go play with your cats. It's like, shut up. Like, just shut up.
I really would. And I'm not joking when I say this. I actually would like to meet him in real life. Yeah. Even fight him. Like, I would just like, I really would like to
beat
like
the shit out of him.
I really would like to question him and like, just be like,
no, because you know what he is.
You intrigue me.
No, you know what he is. He's a fat loser. He's a fat loser that has felt maximum the touch of one woman in his life. Maximum. He gets nervous around women. He has anxiety. He's severely balding, and he's morbidly fat. That's what he is. That's why he spends all that time on Twitter, replying to accounts that are not even part of his fan base. It's because he's a fucking loser. Mm-hmm. That's enough talk about him.
I would like to meet him, though.
Yeah. I just want to see how ugly he is, dude. I know he's just so ugly. Because that's truly someone that, like, I like a burner account. Like, when I see a lot of all burner accounts, and I'm like, that's funny. Like, even if they get the best of a Vanderbilt fan, I'm like, shit, that's good. Or I see a
game
clever
respect
name.
game.
Game respect game. That's not one of them. That's one that I just genuinely am like, you're actually a loser. Oh, you're actually a virgin. Like, oh shit. Like, I didn't know, like, oh my God.
I think he would wear my face if he had the opportunity.
I think so too. I guarantee you right now, Volinquent would trade lives with me right now. I'll bet you $1 trillion he would trade lives with me right now. Getting to next question, because that's way too much time spent on that loser. Vandy Jr. 2. Glad you made the transition. Our guy. We are so happy to see Vandy Jr. 2 make the transition.
Still waiting on
over.
Freitas. APB out on Freitas.
Yep. Hey, contact him if you know him. We're missing him.
Yeah, we miss Freitas.
He says, my question is for Trevor, since he is Phoebe's daddy, but it's about Will. Vandy Jr. says, is Will a cat whisperer?
Yeah.
Background info says, Phoebe likes Will. She sits by his microphone staring lovingly into his face. Phoebe often sleeps in his bed. She actually doesn't sleep in my bed very much, only when Trevor's away. But she does come hang out. But
yeah.
She likes sitting in my window and just observing the beautiful interstate outside of my window, absorbing the sun. Phoebe sometimes sits in his lap on air, and for those unaware of her presence, might wonder why he is playing with himself a lot, when in fact... That's good. When in fact it is just Phoebe he is stroking. It's good, dude.
That is a good one.
To speed things along, I'd like to give you a checklist that helps answer the question. Are you a cat whisperer?
He is.
I've checked off things I think I know, but when it comes to Phoebe, you are the expert. Checklist. I've green-hearted all that apply, red-hearted if they do not. He just said allows him to pet her. Green heart. Number 2, sits in his lap. Green heart, sleeps in his bed. Green heart, she does, just not consistently. When watching TV with her family, she's often near him. Yeah. Swaps between laps. Yeah. We don't watch a lot of TV together, to be honest. And she's certainly in nobody's lap during sporting events. There's way too much up and down, way too much pacing, way too much yelling.
She's like in her little cat tree, typically.
She's unfortunately terrified during sporting events. Will stretch out on the floor and order him to rub her belly. Yes.
Yes, but it's always a trap.
So it's not been a trap lately.
Yeah.
No, she has actually been stretching out, and I've been full belly rubbing with no trap.
It is my favorite thing ever when it's like our other roommate Alex will have like women over, and Phoebe loves dudes. She doesn't love women.
No.
So the moment that I find a lady that like Phoebe's like, well, I like her, then it's ball game. We're gonna have to propose on site. But Alex, our roommate, oftentimes does bring women over, and obviously Go ahead.
I know you might be saving me, but the most savage examples are this of every woman I've brought over. Phoebe has scratched.
Yes,
Like,
I didn't want to bring that up.
Yeah, not oh, she was playing, like scratched them, visibly scratched them.
I'm
like, oh, you just got to earn her trust. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, and then there was one time that I come downstairs and there's just like this group of women in our living room that I don't know. I'm like, what are you guys doing here? They're like, we're here with Alex. I'm like, okay, cool, sick. Phoebe comes trotting behind me and they're like, oh, a cat. I was like, yeah, this is Phoebe. She's mine. And so they all want to start petting Phoebe. And I tell these girls, I go, whatever you do, do not touch her belly. What do these girls do? Immediately, like, squeeze her belly, and Phoebe latched onto this girl's arm, like full latch. She was like trying to shake her off. And I just stood there and she's like, oh my God, what's wrong with your cat? And I go, I told you, don't touch her belly. And I just picked Phoebe up and I filled up my water. And
Dude, she does. I will, to give credit to the girl. Phoebe does roll over and make it look like
it's a
trap.
It's a trap.
She rolls over, shows her belly, and is like, please pet my belly, and then just latches immediately. It is always a trap.
She's very cunning, very sneaky little girl.
Number 6, Ulysses 13, is curious about what he is doing and sometimes stalks him like prey.
Yes.
I'll just be walking up the stairs and she'll just take a swipe at me sometimes.
Yep. I love it. She does that to
claws.
me, and I love it. I don't know. I think it's so cute. Like, I'll just be walking and she'll just go, swipe at me, and I'll look at her like, what do you want?
We have 2 sets of stairs, but one set of stairs has like a ledge. And sometimes I'll just be walking up, she'll just hit me on the head just as I'm walking by, and I'm like, "Why did you?" No claws,
no, just
a
pat,
just to know, just to show me who the alpha is. Sits by her food bowl patiently and stares at him. Yes.
Oh my God, dude! When I am out of town, she tricks the hell out of me.
I have to call Trevor and be like, "Have you fed her this morning?" Because she'll act like she hasn't eaten in
She
days.
knows. She's like, "Okay, he's not the one that feeds me. My food bowl is empty. He doesn't know I ate 5 minutes ago."
She tries to
trick. Get
she'll
more
walk
food
in
out
my
of him.
room, meow at
Yes,
me,
she does.
and I will open the door as she's meowing, and she will lead me to her food bowl and stare at me like I'm hungry.
Yes, little does he know she just had a bowl full of food.
Yeah, I got
30 minutes ago.
I got full. I've lived for too long with Phoebe now, but at the beginning, I got fooled a couple times. She got a couple extra meals.
She's like, damn, this cat's hungry.
Number
as hell.
8, at various times, will jump out from behind something, from under a bed, or maybe from inside an empty box and play attack. Yes.
Yeah.
Him an attempt and allow him to play with her. Yes.
Yep.
When they play, she play bites, but never lets you forget that deep down inside, she is a vicious predator. Yes.
Yeah.
Avoids strangers, but hides somewhere near him for safety.
Only if they're women.
She's not a big stranger avoider. Yeah, it's just women. If it's a dude,
she'll get up in your lap. If it's a lady, she's hesitant.
It's the opposite of my parents' cat. My parents' cat is a male orange cat, and he is completely hesitant of men, but a woman. In his younger days, he's old now, but in his younger days would be in a woman's lap within 5 minutes. There's something odd with the opposite sexes and cats. Number 12, sits and stares at him when she wants the blinds down so she can stare out the window. Yes.
Yep.
Every day.
She loves natural light.
When she catches a mouse, she brings it proudly to show him. She's not good at catching
She's
things.
not good at, thank God we don't have mice here.
No.
But she has zero predatorial instincts.
None. And then he just says aloha. Then goes on to say, my question is for Will, since he's Trevor's housemate, but it's about Trevor. When Trevor gets his doctorate, with what honors will he graduate? At least cum laude, probably summa cum laude, likely magna cum laude.
So we don't have honors for our doctorate, nor did we have honors for our masters. But for undergrad, I did graduate summa cum laude.
I don't even know what.
Which I think is that the second highest?
What are the? I always forget what they are.
Because I had a 3 undergrad. It's so nerdy. I know this. I had a 3.8 GPA in undergrad. So I think that's summa. I think magna is the top.
Yeah, I was summa because I had a 3.92, and I was the summa. I just looked at my LinkedIn.
Okay, so then I was magna cum laude.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember.
I had a 4.0 for graduate school though.
So did I.
Yeah. I graduated with 4.0.
392 undergrad, 4.0. I had made 2 Bs in my entire life, and I will never forget them.
I was in the top 1% of my graduating class for my master's out of all programs.
Nice. What else do we have?
That's for all you people that think I'm dumb.
We are dumb, but not book dumb.
No, not book dumb. Street dumb. I'm pretty dumb, dude. But I'm good. I'm book smart.
I'm dumb in things that I don't even understand how I'm dumb in. I wouldn't call it book dumb or street dumb. I just have some capacities in my life that I'm like, what are you doing? Maybe that's socially.
Do you think you could survive in jailhouse politics? Like if you were put in prison, you think you could survive? Like understanding like the political landscape of prison? No. I think I could.
Dude, I don't want to say what I would do if I was possibly going to prison for an extended period of time. Yeah, I can't say it because it would get us in trouble on YouTube. But dude, I'm not going 25 to life. I'm out.
But hey, dude, maybe after you did that, it would come out that you'd be acquitted. There'd be no evidence against you.
Hey,
you had no
need
to have done it in the first place.
There was no Epstein list. It's amazing. There was none. It's crazy. Wow.
Who would have thought?
Clayton Maxwell is just in prison for something.
She's just in prison for no
nothing,
reason, apparently.
Yeah. Epstein killed himself because he knew he was going to be acquitted.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't do anything wrong. So
killed himself. All right. That's going to get us whatever. VU Daniels says, okay, here it goes. Any of you have Vanderbilt game day rituals? Do you guys have any lucky clothing you wear? I bought these cheesy white Vanderbilt Ray-Ban knockoffs at the Virginia Tech game and wore them every home game.
He has worn those.
One of the reasons we took down Bama. The Vanderbilt has just about rubbed off the side, but I will keep the tradition going this year.
Yes, I actually do have a tradition. So every home game when we tailgate, whenever we're done setting up, probably about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, earlier if it's an 11 o'clock game, but like typically within the first 30 minutes after we're done setting up, I will take a walk around the athletic facility and the parking lot in Vanderbilt. And I will just walk around the football stadium, around Hawkins, all the way around the soccer complex and around the parking lot, and then go back. And it's like a morning walk that I do. And that's my game day rituals. I take a morning walk around Vanderbilt after we're done setting up.
Yeah, mine is a clothing ritual. So usually it happens eventually, but this year it happened game 1. So I had to wear the same exact thing.
Yep.
Every game day. I had to wear the same black Vanderbilt polo. I had to wear the same white Vanderbilt hat, the same jeans, the same white shoes. I had to. So I'm not superstitious. I am a little stitious. And most of mine, I don't really have a game day tradition necessarily in the morning. Actually, yes. Well, it depends because 11 a.m.s I don't do it for. But normal game days, I will stop at McDonald's, get a sausage egg McMuffin, and I will get either a large Diet Coke or a large caramel iced coffee, and that will be my tradition. But yeah, I'm superstitious about clothing. Once I find, usually it's more like middle of the year or game 3, game 4. Once I find the outfit, I cannot differentiate from it. That is what I have to wear every game. Some call it autism, some call it superstition.
It's so funny. After we're done setting up, Miller and Joseph will be like, is it time for your walk? And I'm like, it's time for my walk. So I'll see you guys in 30 minutes. And I'll just disappear for 30 minutes.
He goes on to ask, next question, what is the funniest thing you remember happening in the stands? He says, 2005, 4-0, and we cracked the top 20 for the first time in a while, and then lose to MTSU. I mean, it took 13 of them to block the field goal. But anyways, we had a family member who was a popular songwriter in the 80s and had that old Nashville songwriter accent. Goodbye, top 20. It was just another devastating moment being a Vandy fan. If you know, you know. But the timing and the way he said it still makes me laugh, and we all needed a laugh right then.
I got mine off the rip. My funniest thing to happen at a Vandy game is watching Will get into it with Virginia Tech fans. That's mine. That's my funniest. The lady next to me just goes, there's a fight going on. I just turn around, it's Will trying to take on 30 dudes. That's mine. That's my funniest thing. I am not a violent guy. And like, I never got into like a fist fight this year. Almost like most games, I got into like some sort of altercation at the whenever me and Joseph West went to the Mizzou game, we got into it with these guys, and like the Auburn game, we got into it with like the entire section. Joseph West if you've ever watched a football game or a basketball game with Joseph West, he is an atomic warhead. And truly anybody can get it on that day.
So mine's not even in Vanderbilt Stadium. So I bet it was funny watching me run up about 8 to 10 flights of stairs to then flip a guy's hat off his head, shove a guy, and then almost getting my ass beat by about 20 Virginia Tech fans. But in
that was
moment,
funny.
I didn't care. I was fully ready to get my ass kicked. The funniest thing that's happened was actually in Neyland, 2017. I was there with a big group of friends. Both Vanderbilt and Tennessee sucked, if everybody remembers.
The toilet bowl.
The toilet bowl. That's exactly what the video. So there's a video, I don't know who has it, of me and a UT fan was arguing with me, like yelling back and forth with me. And I said, dude, it is the toilet bowl. It's the toilet bowl. And Tennessee fans were surrounding me, and they were all just dying laughing at this guy that was like, it's not the toilet bowl. It's still Tennessee football. I was like, it's the toilet bowl, man. And it was just, that's my funniest moment, was just, he could not draw me into his anger. I was like, dude, this is the dregs of rivalry week right now. Are you really trying to get into a fight with me inside of a 30% full Neyland Stadium? The lack of attendance during that game also made it funny.
Crazy.
I was in the lower bowl for it. I just walked down to the lower bowl. Literally, it was 40% full. It was crazy seeing that stadium.
Another funny thing that happened, not at Vanderbilt football, but at Vanderbilt basketball this past year during the Mizzou game. It was me. Joseph West once again, his father, Mr. West, and Miller and Jalen. And there was a Mizzou fan in front of us that was talking smack the whole game long. And we were going back and forth and just constantly. At the end of the game, whenever it looked like Mizzou was about to win, he turns around at us and he starts singing, walk in your trap, take over your trap. And like, there's nothing I can say to him right there, because like, he's right. Like, the game's almost over. They're winning. It looks like they're going to win. We hit that buzzer beater and we go ballistic, and we start yelling at him, and he just like won't turn around. His friends are asking us to stop. They're like, guys, please stop. Like, just please stop. And we're like, no, we're not going to stop. So eventually, as the overtime is winding down and Vanderbilt is going to win, all of us in unison start screaming at him, walk in your trap, take over your trap. And we start screaming things at him. Well, that's not even the funny part. The funny part is he goes up to security, points at us, and security comes over, escorts him and his friends out of Memorial Gym. He was like, I don't know if he was like scared of us, but like asked security to safely escort him out of Memorial Gymnasium after he wanted the smoke and we gave him the smoke.
Yeah, next question was, and we've already covered this, was, and always fan favorite, any good fights that can be talked about on air in the stands or tailgates or walking to the car?
Me and Joseph, the Mizzou game, me and Joseph bullied these frat kids into giving us their Zens. Like, we were like, they were like talking crap, and it kept going on. And like, it got a little physical, but then they eventually settled down. And then I just like turn around, and I go, give us some of your Zens. And these kids go, oh, okay. And they gave us like their 12 milligram Zens.
He said, I've definitely had words back and forth a time or 20. Virginia Tech fans were the worst last year, / you guys remember, but I've not thrown any punches yet. I do already have my tickets for the game in Knoxville this year, so we will see how it goes. Yeah, mine.
I'll be at that game.
Mine, honestly, I'm not cool-headed during games at all. So the most recent is the Virginia Tech, but that wasn't the only one last year. I'm not going to go into it further because it's not a good look for me.
You did gain the respect of the families, of the Vanderbilt families.
The Vanderbilt families watched me do that. It gave a new respect from it was offensive linemen's families, specifically Stephen Lasoya's family. Walked up to me after the game and was like, I saw what you did. We had your back, brother. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't considering this was going to be a good look for the brand. I was seeing red like a 4-year-old toddler in anger.
You're like, God forbid boys love the doors.
Dude, there's anybody that's like bragging about the amount of altercations they get in the stands. I'm like, oh, you're not a real hater like me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm ashamed of my actions after the game. When Vanderbilt lost to ETSU in Clark Lee's opening game, I was leaving in like early fourth quarter. I took my shirt off, threw it onto the field, onto whoever was in front of where I was sitting, and then just walked out of the stadium shirtless as people were yelling at me. So I'm just not well behaved at games. Yet another door lawyer has a non-football related question. It says, would you rather in golf shoot a 105 with a hole-in-one on a drivable par 4, if that makes a difference, or a 59 with mostly birdies and an eagle here or there?
I'm not a golf guy, so that's all you.
Dude, obviously I'm taking a 59. I don't even, my best score ever is at Riverside, and I shot an 87. And Riverside, doesn't count as breaking 90. Riverside's an easy course. So I've broken 90 at Eastland Green, which is an easy course, and Riverside, which is an easy course. But dude, a 59, are you serious? If he would have said something like you shoot a 78 or get a hole-in-one with a 105, that would be a tough decision. A 59, Jesus Christ, that would have me over the moon for the next 5 years. I would be telling everybody I shot a 59 until everybody made me cancel this podcast. That's how it would open the intros. Like, remember, guys, I shot a 59. So that's easy for me. I'm trying to get Trevor into golf.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
TDR golf vlog would go crazy.
I just got to get some clubs.
All right. Unabridged says, create a hot take. What's a college football take you have that can be hate watched by rivals for content purposes to bring eyes on the pod? Bonus points if it's demonstrably false. Unabridged is saying that because we had a thing with a tiny Auburn podcast that I usually don't interact with rage bait because it's so obvious. This was just so transparently rage bait, and I'd made the point before about where the new modern sports media and takes landscape was, and it's just people not even seriously engaging in discussion. And this take from an Auburn tiny podcast, I mean, I shouldn't even be talking about it, was Diego Pavia is a horrible quarterback, was a direct quote. You can have a hot take saying you think Vanderbilt's going to go 4-8 this year. That's a hot take that I won't call rage bait. That's a hot take. I don't agree with it, but it's not rage bait. Calling Diego Pavia a horrible quarterback. Diego Pavia could never play another snap of college football, and he's not a horrible quarterback. His career speaks for itself already. At New Mexico State, he was the conference offensive player of the year. Last year at Vanderbilt, he had a 20 touchdown to 4 interception TD to INT ratio. He completed almost 60% of his passes, ran for almost 800 yards and over 800 yards and 8 touchdowns. He's not a horrible quarterback. Even the biggest hater in the world, at worst, could say he's overrated. You could make that. That's not clickbait. You could say he's overrated, this media hype train. He's really good functioning within the Tim Beck offense, but generally now that he has tape on him, he's going to struggle this year. That's a different thing. That's a hot take. Saying he's horrible, no serious person thinks Diego Pavia is a horrible quarterback. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. And that's so I'm not going to make a hot take to get eyes on the podcast. That can be you if you would like.
Yeah, I don't even think this is a hot take, really. I think this is a pretty mild-mannered take. I think Tennessee goes 4-8 this year. I think Brent Venables underachieves at Oklahoma, gets fired, and I think Josh Heupel at the end of this year leaves Tennessee to go take the Oklahoma position.
That's a hot take.
I think that's cold. I think that's ice cold.
Yeah. I think Tennessee's going to take a step back this year.
I also have one for basketball. Kentucky is not an elite basketball program, and we will die before we see them win another national title.
That's why you're the hot takes man on this podcast. Those are beautiful. G Barks 24, shout out George Barkley, says, who are some pass catching options that you'll be watching closely heading into fall camp?
Trey Richardson. There have been, I know they're still in workouts. There have been murmurs about Trey Richardson, JUCO wide receiver transfer, the burner, the kid that runs a faster dash, 100-yard meter dash than Tyreek Hill. We have heard some things about Trey Richardson and his ability to create plays. I am fascinated as we get into fall camp to keep up with Trey Richardson. I think I don't want to put him on such high a pedestal that I think he's like, I don't want to say he's going to be the number one wide receiver, but Trey Richardson fascinates me. And I've heard a lot of really intriguing things about him since he's been on campus.
Yeah, I'll give the obvious. Chance Fitzgerald is a very intriguing
Mm-hmm.
guy. I think he has a high ceiling. He could also basically be a non-contributor. What was the guy from Texas Tech last year?
Loic Fungi.
So I could see Chance Fitzgerald being another Loic Fungi, having like 6 to 8 catches on the year.
But all of those catches were like
They were
kind of
huge.
big first
Yeah.
downs, which
So,
was crazy.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to directly compare it. The one that I'll bring up, since Trey Richardson was who I would have said, Martell Height. I'm very curious to see how involved he is on the offense. If he's truly just a jet sweep type guy, or if he's a guy that's actually participating in the offense,
Like can
running
run
the route
routes.
tree, all that stuff. So that's something interesting to watch during fall camp is Martell Height's involvement on offense.
I think another sexy name is Keanu Coote.
Yeah.
I think that's another sexy
Not a
name.
pass catcher, but a sexy
Oh,
name.
sorry. He said pass
Yeah.
catcher. You're right. My apologies. Well, then we're going not just wide receiver, but pass catcher. Bryson Coleman. Bryson Coleman, before he unfortunately had an injury to his collarbone last fall camp, looked like the next thing, like the next big thing, like looked like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm fascinated to see Bryson Coleman's progression. Could play tight end. There were some murmurs that you could even move him to wide receiver, bigger body wide receiver. I don't know. Either way, Bryson Coleman, I think, is a fascinating player to watch that nobody is talking about.
We have 2 more questions. Both of them are fantastic. I'll start with the quickest one, and then we'll go to the final one to close it out here on episode 323. From Unabridged says, are we going to get some TDR streams of CFB 26? I need to see Trevor scream into his mic when he beats UT by 40. Trevor, we got to get you streaming. I think people want to see you stream. They're saying they want TDR streams. I think they want Trevor stream.
I can stream.
So we will get that figured out. Worst case, Trevor will just tweet it from his personal account. We'll retweet it on the door report. We're going to get Trevor streaming.
I'll stream. I'll stream for the boys.
Then probably the best question of the day from Mount Juliet Door says, off-season hypotheticals since it is the worst month of sports. Pick one.
F, Mary, kill?
No.
No.
Pick one, and you can only have one, meaning the other 2 will not happen.
Mhm.
Number 1, football has an outstanding 2025 season. Tops all analysts' predictions, garners national respect, goes 8-4, beats Tennessee, and is invited to an excellent bowl game. Number 2, men's basketball, all the pieces click. Memorial Magic is truly back, makes a deep run, and is the talk of the tourney. Goes to their first Elite 8 since 1965, but is knocked out before the Final Four. Number 3, baseball puts it all together and wins another natty in 2026. That's a tough question.
Word.
That is a great question.
Oh my god. Off the rip, take out number 3.
Yeah, off the rip.
Oh my word, what a question.
Oh man.
Oh god.
So I'm taking number 3 out just because we've seen baseball win a natty relatively recently, and also baseball matters, quote unquote, the least to me. So number 3 off the table for me. Oh man.
I want to go to an Elite 8 so bad, but give me number 1. Give me number 1. I think beating Tennessee.
Yeah. I'm going.
I think just for beating Tennessee, I think give me number 1.
I'm going number 1 because I believe what it can catapult the program into. I think basketball can get there, even if this season doesn't click. I think they can get to where they need to go. I don't think this upcoming season is do or die. This is your chance.
Mm-hmm.
This is your chance to become that program you once were. I think for football, if they come out and go 4-8, it destroys this football program.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if they come out and exceed expectations and go 8-4, it catapults Vanderbilt into being a competitive, respected football program for the next decades. So I'm going number 1. But
that is so tough, dude. Seeing your first ever Elite 8.
Yeah. I'm going number 1, but that is
brutal.
By the smallest minutia you can possibly have. That's a great
There was
question.
a real part of me that's like, man, I might pick number 2.
Yeah.
There was a real part that's like, I might go.
I'm really going back and forth on that one. But yeah, I think I'm going number 1.
I think give me number 1.
All right.
Wow.
That's
that
a great
is
way to close it out.
So what a question.
Yeah, everybody out there, we might ask that on the premium message board and just see what people think.
I'll ask you. Never mind. No, I don't even want to ask that. That has my brain in a tizzy right now.
Anything else you want to add here on episode 323 before we close it out of
I'm
a
about to go
pretty
play.
beefy episode?
I'm about to go play college football 25 till like 3 in the morning
26.
or 26. My apologies, 26.
Yeah, it's very weird to me that they're a year in advance.
They've always been like that,
Yeah,
though, which has
it
been so
is.
strange. But Madden is not.
Yeah, it's very weird. I don't understand that, but whatever. That's beyond the pale. Yeah, that's about it. For myself, Will Byrum, my co-host Trevor Hulan, this has been episode 323 of the Door Report, powered by 615 Collectibles.